Te quiero, te quiero.
They say that creation is hard, but destruction is pretty easy.
No!
When you create something, you tend to want to make it the best you possibly can. It requires time, commitment, and dedication. Whether it be a business, a painting, music, an invention, or a project, creation to me, in and of itself, it's art. So I feel when someone actually creates something, I feel like that effort should get recognition. But when they create something amazing, that should get awards. People out of the loop like to say video games aren't art. I want to focus on one I recently discovered, or more I should say, late to the game, and that's Hollow Knight. Created by Team Cherry, this game will go on to receive a lot of high praise, but never reaching the mass appeal that other indie darlings have. Which is a shame because Hollow Knight is amazing. When I started this game, I started it on a whim called, I need a break because the world is on fire. After booting it up, I found myself wandering into the nearest city, Dirtmouth. The tutorial actively taught me how to play without having to outright say anything. There was a few messages here and there, but not many, as there was no need for any. Art direction of the game, I've seen it before and heard it was good, but I didn't have the time to pay attention to it, which is a shame since a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic was right outside my window. Menacingly! I had plenty of time. One of the methods that this game uses for storytelling, and actually one of the best methods used in storytelling, is done by not saying a word. By letting the environment tell you the tale, you accomplish more in a few minutes versus what it takes someone hours to explain. Something I wish other AAA developers would take cues from for their game design. Similar to the way The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild teaches you about the world by just giving you things to look at and letting you draw your own conclusions. The art style is cute and fun with an ominous air about it. It's sporting traditional 2D animation to fit a novel feel and vibe of the story, like a sad children's storybook. It's fascinating. Space is not wasted in this game, with items reflecting where you are with casual transitions between locations. The environment comes to life with things that are in the foreground and in the background, moving around, breathing, and alive. Something that's very prevalent in Miyazaki films. It's charming yet haunting. In one area, a jungle of greens and lush environments with overgrowth and ruin, and then in another area, you head above the land of Dirtmouth to the right, and a world of crystals and advanced mining operations opens up before you. Head down far enough and you'll reach a town that will never stop raining for reasons really left up to you to decide on. Head even further out, and a place where eerie, nervous, uncomfortable feeling with a sparse, beautiful background is your only companion. These environments have creatures that were not just placed there for variety, but these creatures are victims of their own environment, and a history highlighting how they got there in the first place. And as you play through the story, you find out how deep the rabbit hole goes. And should you choose this rabbit hole, you must not forget about the music. The music creates an atmosphere of wonder and mystery, with slight glimmers of joy piercing through a gloomy, desolate wasteland. Boss fight music enters with orchestral, boomy instruments signifying shit is indeed getting real. City of Tears undoubtedly is one of my absolute favorite tracks. As you venture around, music comes in and takes a hold of you, and it knows when to back off or to be impactful. It's almost as if the game is singing to you, telling you a story as you progress through the world. One of the most interesting things to me is how not all the characters take the world as seriously as the environment does, which often reflects how people in dire straits handle their situations. People with comfort and money tend to find reasons to take themselves seriously and be uninspiring, whereas people, or in this case, creatures who often suffer, tend to be the most entertaining, funny, and interesting. Characters range from cute and cuddly to badass warlords. Many of these characters have charming and/or very fascinating personalities. Some of the most impactful personalities on me were characters like Cloth, Iselda, Cornifer, Elderbug, and Hornet. Huh, how did that get in there? These characters and more offer dynamic and unique perspectives on the world and the characters that have walked before you. They offer such striking perspectives that it's hard to describe one without mentioning them all. And as you get to know the game's stories, it's hard to not have your heart broken. One of my favorites is the homie bug Quirrel, and my god, homie Quirrel is the type of bug that will outshine you in every single way, and even if he can take all the women, yes I know he's a bug, and or men, depending on how you swing, which is completely fine.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
He would still wingman for you because he believes in you. God, I love that bug. When exploring new places and wandering around in the dark, seeing tiny pages and hearing a slight humming in the distance is a sight for sore ears when trekking such a lonely and death-ridden path. A familiar face and a welcoming tune can be the torch in the dark that allows me to see where I'm going. Hollow Knight plays nicely with colors and contrast. The knight that you play as, both for environment and the knight himself, are just fantastic examples of how you do color. A mostly dark and dim muted background with different colors coming in and out of focus is pretty much the mainstay in Hollow Knight. Enemies and character depth range from simple to having deep motives for what they do and the choices that they make. And then there's these assholes who have a flawless ability of sniping you no matter where you are. Then you got these giant pricks, and then you have these suicidal assholes. On a side note, I really have a thing for a Zelda. Somebody help me. Please send help.
Bapanada.
Now this is either a bonus to you or it's standard, depending on how you look at it. Metroidvania games tend to have this in them. With the ability to gain access to new areas, I absolutely love how the world balloons and opens up. When I first started playing, I thought this was going to be like 5 minutes. But as I played again and again and again and again, the world just kept getting bigger and bigger. You can't help but love how depressingly awesome this game is. At the time I bought it, it was like a $5 game. Hollow Knight is a $15 game. The size of the game is huge. It took me like 50 hours to get 91% completion of this game. Granted, some of that was spent being lost as hell. But for $15, this game is a steel soul, a mode that I will never, ever play. The game comes with multiple DLC updates for free, adding new content into the game. In a world where developers bend your wallet over their laps and spank the shit out of them, it's great to see so much effort and love put into a game.
That's what we call a masterpiece for your wallet.
And these DLC packs really expand the story. It grabs those heartstrings and drags you into oblivion. You choose your own path, and one of those things I love about the story is the level of impact it has. Your choices can either help or hurt the inhabitants, making you feel the real weight of your choices. Even if it's intentional or unintentional, you can cause great joy or inspire hope or release genuine sorrow, depending on what you decide to do. Look at that. I'm crying right now. Controls feel sharp and tight. Customization is an option through charms. Everything used from the health gauge to the equipment and everything else in between really helps tell the story of Hollow Knight and does a better job than most AAA developers do. Overall, Hollow Knight is trying to be the Dark Souls of the Dark Souls, and it exceeds at that. It pisses me the hell off. Yet I can't get enough of the world and its inhabitants. I found myself at times doing things completely unnecessary to the story, and even doing things that aren't even the main objectives to the game. I just felt compelled to do it for the characters. This story made by this small team. The story is this gently tugging black hole that slowly draws you in without you even realizing it. So if you hadn't tried Hollow Knight yet, for the love of God, what the hell are you doing? But I will say this, the real tragedy of Hollowness isn't all the pain and sorrow that happens within it. But it's really because the kingdom blew its entire fiscal budget on all these buzzsaws. I gotta say, I absolutely love all these buzzsaws. I wish there was more buzzsaws. There's not enough buzzsaws in this game. Never in my entire life have I been so joyed, so over-thrilled to just go through a gauntlet of buzzsaws. Ooh, I love it so much. Dying 1,000 times? Hell yeah. I still love this game though.
Bapanada. 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 Bafanada.